We are back with J.C. Polanco and Jeff Colton. And I have to ask a question. We were having a conversation in the break about what people could be taxed. And I know that the mayor of New York City believes that you should raise the corporate business tax to equal New Jersey's. But some people argue that corporations are already paying that with the other things that they're paying. Well, how do you feel about it?
Look, I'm very concerned about increasing taxes, full stop. We already are overtaxed. What I can see happening is that corporations are going to look elsewhere to go to. When you're talking about raising the minimum wage to some of those numbers that we're hearing, when you're talking about raising the corporate tax to try to match New Jersey, not taking into account the other costs that businesses are paying, why would a business stay? Why wouldn't they just go somewhere else? It's very concerning because then when businesses leave, so do the jobs. So we're going to have to think very, very hard before raising taxes on corporations and on people. Because one thing that I think we lose sight of is we have lost so many New Yorkers to other states. And that has cost us at least 3 to 4 congressional seats, which has cost us 4 electoral votes, which makes us less powerful when it comes to national elections. I'm concerned about that. And what happens when you feel overtaxed? You just go to another state. Where are these people going? They're all going to red states that tax less, making red states more powerful than us. And I'm very concerned about the messaging of taxing people more and more and more.
Okay. Part of Mamdani's pitch, though, whether it's said or unsaid, is that he's going to make New York City so desirable to live in, so in demand that more people are going to be coming here. You know, the buses are going to be cheap. The crime is going to stay down, and part of it is he's going to make New York City cool. You know, he's a celebrity mayor at this point. People are going to want to be coming here, and the idea then is that if the people are here, if the talent is here, then the corporations are going to be here, and they're willing to pay extra. That's kind of been the pitch for, I mean, decades now, really, is that, yeah, even though New York City may have high taxes, people want to be in New York City. Businesses want to be in New York City.
But de Blasio tried to do that, and people kept moving out, and the out-migration numbers during the de Blasio years it was a steady stream of people who left.
But the problem, and I hear you, and I live here, I raise my family here, I'm a homeowner here, so I hope that's the case. But the problem is that we still have a housing shortage. And these people have to live somewhere. We don't have the infrastructure for a large influx, let's be honest. So what happens with housing when you're talking about, and you've made as a platform of your campaign, that you're going to increase housing while freezing rents? Those things are incongruent when you consider the fact that the maintenance, the property tax, the insurance, the energy costs that small mom and pop landlords have to pay never freeze. They're escalating. And what you're seeing is that these landlords who have taken taken the risk of making housing available for New Yorkers find themselves disincentivized from making housing available. You have tens of thousands of apartments that are left vacant because there's no way that they can remodel these apartments to make them available for tenants. So you got to think about the implications of raising taxes, freezing the rent, and doing what you're saying about being the cool mayor, making New York City exciting to.
But so, Jeff, I mean, you did raise the issue of being the cool mayor, and that he wanted to be, and what you've seen from his social media posts, that people absolutely relate to him in many, many ways. Here's the question, though. Nationally, people are going to be looking at New York as an example of things they could adapt or not adapt, or like or not like. So having said that, what effect do you think that's going to have on the national elections, and especially the midterm elections for Congress?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, my inbox yesterday was full of Republican statements saying, collectivism, Tom Suozzi stands behind this, and even people from other states,
Is this going to make it more difficult for New York congressmen, Democratic New York congressmen, to get elected?
No, Republicans going to try, but frankly, we have now 11 months until November. And a big part of that is going to be whether Mamdani has a really strong and positive 11 months and we're able to see impacts, or whether, like many New York City mayors, his popularity simply goes down from here. It's just a matter of time. It happens with everybody. And how they all play that. Again, the Republicans, many are happy about this, that Mamdani's taking office, because they think they can use him as a foil and...
Listen, I'm going to tell you, I was a Republican for 20 years, and I know right now that Republicans are going to use Mayor Mamdani and everyone who supported Mayor Mamdani as a piñata. Yes, they will be successful in purple districts. See, this is the issue. If you're a Democrat in a purple district, take a Suozzi or a Gillen in Long Island.
So you're saying that Mike Lawler will profit from this?
Mike Lawler will definitely profit from this. And the fact is this is tough for a lot of journalists and New Yorkers to quite understand. You have an assembly member with a very thin record. You don't know. A year year ago now, we had no idea who Assemblyman Mandani was. Now he's a rock star. But he rose up the ranks in the political scene, saying some of the most insane things from, let me finish, seizing the means of production, defunding the police, ending private ownership of property and collectivizing housing like the Vienna model. These are things that are out there. If I'm a Republican consultant and I am making commercials for a Republican in a purple district or to try to get a Democrat out in a purple district, I am going to have those videos in black and white as Mamdani, as a boogeyman, and I'm going to win some of those seats that Democrats should have kept.
Will he be a boogeyman?
Yes,
and pinata.
There's also
a pinata.
There's the funny aspect too of there's how Republicans and moderates in New York City are feeling hypothetically, even if they're thinking, wow, maybe Mamdani isn't so bad. That doesn't matter to the people in Montana who are only going to be receiving a caricature of Mamdani. They're only going to get the craziest things, even if he said them 5 years ago. It's going to be the caricature, and that is going to be on all the TV ads, the mailers.
Marsh, can you imagine what Jeff just said is true? Could you imagine sitting in Montana and on your screen is Assemblyman Mamdani talking about legalizing prostitution? Could you imagine how that's going to sell in those districts? It's going to be terrible.
So let's talk about a race that's closer to home. In fact, right here in New York City, where Mr. Mamdani, Mayor Mamdani, has backed Brad Lander to take on a sitting congressman, Dan Goldman.
This is the issue, and I'm sure I'm going to offend a lot of people, not my intention, but this is the cult of Mamdani. The reason why Congressman Goldman has a primary today, it's not because he's a bad Democrat, it's not because he's pro-life or anti-immigrant, it's because he did not support Mayor Mamdani in the primary. That's it, full stop. And anyone else who wants to add anything to that equation, you could just throw in there that he happens to be Jewish and that he supports the state of Israel, and now is why you have a primary against Dan Goldman. Dan Goldman is the same attorney who went after President Trump. You cannot get more Democrat than Dan Goldman. He's getting a primary from the left only because he didn't bow down to the altar of then Assemblyman Mamdani.
Successful endorsement?
Well, time will tell.
Come on,
but
Jeff, come
sure
on.
Seems like it. Yeah,
that's
Mamdani's at the peak of his popularity right now, and Brad Lander is given credit, especially in that district. It's a very left-leaning district, for helping Mamdani defeat Andrew Cuomo. So this endorsement is a thank you for that. I mean, this is Mamdani saying, Brad, you did me a favor, I'll do you a favor. Even if Dan Goldman, yes, is a party line blue Democrat, he's not aligned with Mamdani on Israel, and he's not aligned with Mamdani in a political, in a spiritual sense almost. He just does not see eye to eye. He is a Goldman Sachs heir capitalist and a Levi's heir capitalist, and Mamdani's not that.
But again, Mamdani is a millionaire kid whose mommy is a major film director and whose dad is a professor at Columbia. But it's not about Dan Goldman, who his parents were. The fact is this, that if you are a member of Congress and you did not support Assemblyman Mamdani in his primary, you're getting a primary, whether you're a state senator, an assembly member, or a member of Congress. You can look around the map in New York. And I asked the question, how does this help a future Speaker Jeffries? How does it help Speaker Jeffries build up his Democrats in Congress if he has to protect the incumbents from primaries on the left that are led by Mayor Mamdani? It does no good. That's why no far-left progressive DSA Democrat has ever added anything of substance to the majority in Congress. They only beat each other up. So until now Minority Leader Jeffries takes control and say, don't come after my incumbents, we're going to see more and more of this. And it's unfortunate, but that's where the Democratic Party in New York City is going.
So are you predicting a Brad Lander victory?
I can't predict that now because I think Congressman Goldman is a fantastic member of Congress. I don't even know why this is even happening, other than he didn't bow down to the altar and support him in a primary.
Brad Lander's got momentum. He sees a race that he can win because he's popular in this district. He's got it behind him. There's a lot of Democratic socialists and even just in the broader progressive world who want to keep that Mamdani win momentum going. And this is the race.
One last question. How do we feel about the Nadler seat? There are 10 people who, maybe more by now, I mean, they grow by the minute, 10 people who want to take over where the retiring Congressman Jerry Nadler is leaving Congress. Any early predictions?
I'm really excited about this race. I mean, just because it's such an open seat in such a crucial district, Midtown, Upper West Side, Upper East Side, it's just going to be fascinating. And this one is a little bit outside of that Mamdani sphere. However, interesting angle is that the leading contender right now, Micah Lasher, assembly member who has Nadler's support, he actually has a good relationship with Mamdani. They've talked, they've worked together, and we're going to see if Mamdani, I don't think he would endorse publicly, But,
But there's a
big
number of
question.
people who are in the race who are more progressive than Michael Lasher. So is there going to be pressure on Mayor Mamdani to pick somebody who's more to the left?
Oh, I think absolutely there will be, yeah. And that's what makes it such an interesting question and a difficult decision for Mamdani. We already saw him, yes, he chose to endorse Lander. He chose to push Chiose out of the race against Hakeem Jeffries. There was tension with the other congressional race with Alexa Aviles in that one. I mean, there's just been so many political decisions that Mayor Mamdani is going to have to make and balance all of these competing interests and competing political alliances.
I got to tell you something about that seat you mentioned. Look, this district where Cuomo did very well in November.
Which is why I'd like to ask you about whether you think that Jack Schlossberg has a chance.
He may have a chance.
Because
Look, he's
sort
probably.
of, I'm from the Cuomo school.
I'm from the Cuomo school, and it's such an important seat. It's the mother of all successions to that seat because you represent such a very popular part of the country and an economic engine of the United States. So that all congressional districts may have the same number of people, plus or minus 5%, but not all districts are the same. And this is a very special district. So I can see middle of the road centrist Democrat win that seat where the far left cries don't matter as much. But there's another seat I like to bring up, and I'm sorry, Marcia, but that's the succession to Congresswoman Velasquez.
Well, also, but remember, there's a number of people who are running in that seat, including the present Brooklyn Borough president.
Oh, you're talking about the Congresswoman Velasquez. I think Antonio Reynoso is going to be a fantastic candidate in that seat. He would be the second Dominican-American member of Congress if he wins, and it would be exciting. I hope he does pull it off so we can have two Dominican-Americans in Congress, and I think it would be great, a succession to Congresswoman Velasquez. And plus, he's not a DSA member, and he's very progressive.
Mm-hmm. Of course, that's another difficult decision for Mamdani, how much to get involved, because that's going to be most likely a progressive Democrat in Reynoso versus a Democratic socialist, likely an Assemblywoman Claire Valdez.
Right.
So
what
real
does he
tension
do
there.
in that race?
It would be hard for him to go against DSA, but then again, if Velasquez supports Reynoso, she's been a really good ally to Mamdani. She's really been supporting him throughout this campaign. That's going to be a tough decision. I think he would go with DSA, but he might just have to stay out in order to not harm Reynoso, who has also been an ally. They cut a Spanish ad together.
Yeah,
I mean, Reynoso helped them get elected.
And then take a look at what's happening with Congressman Espaillat in Northern Bronx. He's facing a primary from the left. Even though Congressman Espaillat did support Mayor Mamdani in November, who is the only Dominican-American in Congress. So look, there's a lot going on, an exciting election year.
There's a lot of questions, and you know what? We're all going to have to come back and do it again so we can figure out what's happening in the world of politics. Mm-hmm. But right now, we have to say goodbye. Thank you both for joining me.
Thank you so much. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Thank you at home for joining us as well, and Happy New Year.